What do you expect England to do in the centre, Eddie? Will it be all beef? Will it be Tuilagi and Teo and smash Ireland to pieces, or will Slade play there? How do you see that one going?
I think my expectation is that if you look at how Eddie Jones' hands are tied at the moment vis-a-vis the players available to him, his selection is going to be about physical attrition and physical confrontation. Like, the starting point for me is the selection. If you pick the best 15 players out of the two teams, I think England might get 2 on our team. They might get 2. They get probably, you could argue Billy Vunipola and you could argue Mario Itoje. But I don't see, like, you could argue, if you were playing Farrell at 10, but that means leaving out Sexton. I wouldn't buy that. So really, we are a better team than them. They get very few players in our team. For that reason, Eddie's hands are tied with his back row. He doesn't have an open side. Sam Underhill was his get out of jail card with open side. He's gone. So I think his centre partnership, again, he wants Farrell on the field, but he's used Farrell at 12 more than 10, even though Farrell is his best 10. But he doesn't have an outside centre. Then he bumps Tuilagi or Ben Teo to outside centre. So I think he might just go, like, if he's physically, he might go with Farrell, Tuilagi and Teo in the middle of the field and just go like bats out of hell physically in attack and defence. I don't think he can beat us playing rugby. I think we're a better rugby team. And then the pack he has got physicality written all over it. So I would think it's going to be a hugely physical game. And for that reason, I think he'll go route one rugby and try and basically beat us up. And it's possible, but I don't believe they have the horse. I think we can match them at that as well. So I think Eddie Jones has a lot of headaches coming into Dublin. And I don't see any obvious solutions to them. I think the back row is another one. The big question for us is, do we go, or does Joe decide to go with Josh van der Fleer over Sean O'Brien? And my inclination is to go with an open side because they don't have one. And that gives us an edge in the back row. But maybe if he's expecting a brawl, he might go with Sean O'Brien, because the English backer will be a brawl. They don't have an out-and-out Lucy. So they're all the kind of pressure points that I think Eddie Jones' hands are tied. I don't think he can outdo us in those areas. And even the line-out with Devin Toner in there now and James Ryan and O'Mahony, I think, our line-out is better than theirs per se, even though they have Itoje. And we got them called 2 years ago in Dublin in that game. Peter O'Mahony stole that key line-out. So, look, I've been dicing this for a few days, obviously, and I'm just trying to find, if I was Eddie Jones, I would be feeling very uneasy about this one in terms of how do I break down Ireland, because I'm not sure he has the players to do it, and that's my honest opinion. It's a hard thing for maybe someone who supports England to take, but I think we're just a better rugby team at the moment.
Is that how you read it, Matt, then? Is Eddie Jones looking at this game and coming to the conclusion, I'm getting my biggest, most physical team on there because it's the only chance we have to beat this Irish side?
His problem is that, for me, when he lost Underhill, he must have sat there that night and gone, oh no, because when Underhill's performance against Leinster for Bath was exceptional, and it rattled Leinster. They couldn't get their game going. They did win the game, but they couldn't get into top gear. And he must have seen the way that if I can rattle Leinster, maybe I can rattle Ireland. And when he has lost that, you then got to say, well, how else am I going to rattle them? Where am I going to attack them? So he's got to get the game line, and he must have watched New Zealand and Ireland. Obviously, he did, and New Zealand couldn't get the game line. New Zealand forwards couldn't get the team on the front foot. So again, he comes back to Eddie's question. Where do I turn here? What do I do? So have you got someone that's silky and sparkly that's going to twinkle toes their way through like Ringrose can? He hasn't got it. So the only thing he's got some big, tough, hard dudes. And he has said it in his press conferences, as much as I don't believe a word Eddie says in his press conferences, but he talked about, the brutality and the physicality is going to be like that. And that's, to me, what card has he got to play? And that's the card he's got to play. He has got some very big, some very physical guys, and he is going to try and choke a game to get the game line, to get the 3 points, and somehow to stop Ireland scoring tries. Like New Zealand did, they only scored one try, but Ireland have been scoring some tries last year. They can have dry patches. That's going to be his modus operandi. So I think rather than an open, free-flowing game, we're going to have a pretty dramatic, tense, but very physical game.
Ironically, given what you've outlined there as a fairly agricultural and simplistic style of rugby, John Mitchell, their defence coach now, has just been speaking on 5 Live from the training camp in Portugal, and he was asked how Ireland are going to try and beat England, and he said, they'll try and bore the shit out of us, was his response. That's hot off the presses. Bore the shit out of us, lads. That's what they're going to try and do. John Mitchell.
Well, he's a Kiwi, basically. He's done a bit of travel, Johnny, but he lived in Australia and so everybody's a Kiwi, so he's called a spade a spade. He's, look, it's I've said it before, I'll say it again, it's boring rugby, but it's successful. And you know what? I've got to give Joe so much credit for this. Everyone copies New Zealand attacking style, their system where they're putting their flankers out in the 5 metre line, and then you have the tight 5 in the middle. Everyone around the world is copying it. Leinster and Ireland don't. They're doing their own style. And if you watch Leinster play that first half against Toulouse, it's the same thing. They just got the ball, put it up their jumper, and just Toulouse didn't have any possession. They just couldn't get the ball. And that's what Ireland do to teams. They get the ball, Joe's team will get the ball and just won't give it back to you.